Hello, hello. Welcome to the PG-ish podcast. I'm Erin with your parental guidance to help you grow yourself as a parent and raise healthy, happy, and successful humans. Hey there. If you're looking to biohack your productivity and create systems that leverage your hormones and body's natural rhythms, or if you're building a business while juggling many other things like, kids and your 9 to 5, and want to grow your business without feeling like you're constantly hustling, join my friend Renee's Cycle Sync Your Biz workshop. This workshop will help you design a new way to work, a way that's designed to work with your body and lifestyle. Pretty cool, right? If this interests you, you can sign up via the link in the show notes. I also want to remind you that you can still sign up for my Weary to Revived class. It's all online, and you can take it at your own pace in the comfort of your PJs and favorite chocolate in hand. P.S. I highly recommend Honey Mama's chocolates. Anyway, this course is a result of being on the other side of burnout, fatigue, grief, and frustration. Now, I am not perfect, nor a fairy godmother with a magic wand to erase all of your problems. I'm just a mama standing in front of a weary mama asking her to join me. Take my hand and let me support you in creating a blueprint to feel, heal, and redefine joy and life on your own terms. To learn more and to sign up, head to pgishparenting.com/events. But speaking of weary, I've had to come to terms that I am not a superwoman. While yes, I'm crazy independent and hate asking for help, I also take on way too much, which makes it look like I could happily run a marathon in a ball gown while juggling and never break a sweat. And honestly, that's just no good and downright unhealthy. Hello, burnout, by the way. Yet people have given me the superwoman moniker in the past, and to be honest, I'd rather punch them in the face than hear those words fall from their mouths. Why? Well, I don't want to do it all. I don't want to appear like I have it all together, nor do I want to give off a pretense that isn't achievable for someone else. Actually, anyone. Being a mom is just sometimes downright impossible, right? Well, Tiffany Dufu gives a hall pass to drop the ball on unrealistic expectations, the idea that we're supposed to do certain things a certain way, and to-do lists. Instead, what would it look like if you asked for more help or focused on your strengths rather than your weaknesses? And above all, what would you do if you put your all into fewer tasks rather than being spread thin and not doing anything well? She also paints a beautiful picture of how her parents broke generational cycles by facing fears and doing things they'd never done before. Your physical and mental environment matter. How are you choosing to cultivate your internal environment as a parent and creating an external environment for your family to grow well in? Some good questions right there. But check out Tiffany.
A few years ago, I was leading what I thought was going to be a time management workshop for a bunch of women, about 80 of them. We didn't get very far, though, because the first exercise I asked everyone to do was to write down a list of all of the things they expected to complete in an ideal day. And I mean every single little thing. So if you wake up in the morning and you go to the gym, write that down. If you wake up in the morning and you're just lying in bed for 20 minutes thinking about how you should go to the gym, write that down. Okay, if you have to walk a dog, get anybody else ready, your commute, your meetings, every little thing until you can't think of anything else. And then I asked them to write down next to each item how long they thought it might take for them to complete each one of those, and then to sum it at the bottom. And as I was walking around the tables, looking at everyone's paper as the facilitator, I was having another one of my Tiffany's epiphanies, because not one woman in the room had a sum that amounted to less than the 24 hours all of us are given in a day. And some women didn't even have sleep on their list, and they were already at the 24-hour mark. And it became very clear to me that there's no wonder that so many of us are walking around with feelings of inadequacy, as if we can't get it all done, because our ideal about what we should be getting done is actually humanly impossible. And so I really think it's important for us to ditch the to-do list altogether and to really get clear about our highest and best use. And when I say our highest and best use, I mean a combination of what we do very little well, with little effort, usually because we've done it over and over again, combined with what are the things that only you can do. It would be callous or irresponsible to delegate those things to other people. In fact, I now, when something comes over the fence, can you blurb my book? Can you serve on this committee? Can you read this? Can you write this? I go straight to my calendar. If I can't fit it on there, it's a reality check that maybe I need to drop the ball on it or that something on my calendar needs to be dropped. The third ball that I had to figure out how to drop, which is the most ironic one for me because I'm obsessed with helping other people, was this fear of asking other people to help me. Not only was I not good at asking people to help, I engaged in a dynamic that I call imaginary delegation. This is when you assign someone a task and you fully expect them to complete the task. And when they don't, you're annoyed or you're angry, but you never actually tell them that you assigned them the task. And then when common sense prevails and you think to yourself, well, you never actually told her to take the notes, or you never actually told him to take out the recycling. You snap back at common sense. Well, when I was an associate, no one had to tell me to take notes. I mean, can't he just see that the recycling needs to get taken out? And then you kind of continue this cycle. So I had to go from imaginary delegation to a completely new dynamic, which is delegating with joy and asking for people for something higher than just the task at hand. And one of the people who I was able to engage and delegate successfully to was my husband. And obviously I've learned a lot about how to get things done through him. This is my mom, Brenda. And my mom found out that she was pregnant with me when she was 19 years old. My family was from Watts. Her and my dad were in Watts, LA. Is anybody familiar with Watts? Some of us. Well, suffice it to say that in the 1970s, Watts was a really rough place. It was a rough time. My mom didn't know anything other than the environment that she was in. But she believed that there had to be something other than this. And she happened to have an uncle who was an Army recruiter. And between the big foreboding uncle, as my father tells it, and my mom, he was convinced to join the Army. And I was born 9 months later at Fort Lewis Army Base in Tacoma, Washington, which is how I'm from Seattle. I'm homesick right now. Oh, I got some whistles. Thank you. My parents broke a very vicious cycle of poverty and addiction and violence in one generation. The same guy that had to kick her heroin addiction to even be able to pass the physical exam for the military, eventually went to college on the GI Bill, became a PhD in theology. He became a pastor. I grew up literally in a nice little house with a white picket fence around it, not knowing about any of these cycles personally. Which, by the way, is why we live in the greatest country on earth, that you can achieve that kind of progress in just one generation. And in so doing, my parents taught me this fundamental truth, which is that if you want something you've never had before, you're going to have to do something that you've never done before in order to get it. Now, the downside of that truth is that it's really scary to put ourselves out on a limb and to do things that we've never done before, particularly when those things disrupt ourselves and the assumptions that we have about the way that things should be done and about who we are. But the upside of this dynamic is that you could probably get a bit more sleep.
Despite knowing better, I think most of us continue to take on more out of obligation, people-pleasing, or to fill a void. Yet when you can create boundaries and put on your own oxygen mask first, you get to replace dread and fatigue with a much more positive energy that hits both you and your family differently. It's one of ease, relief, and joy. I dare you to do the exercise that she talked about. Write out your list of obligations and your ideal day to see if they consume every one of your 24 hours in a day. This is a great starting place to either schedule more activities that you love or to scale back and examine why you do all the things in the first place. Let me know how this exercise goes if you take it on. To learn more about Tiffany, check out her website, tiffanydufu.com, pick up her book, Drop the Ball, Achieving More by Doing Less, as well as watch the full clip from 99U called Drop the Ball Instead of Trying to Do It All. Links to all of those, as well as the Cycle Sync Your Biz workshop and Weary to Revive class, are in the show notes. If today's episode hit home, please let me know at hello@pghparenting.com or DM me on Instagram at pghparenting. And of course, please share this episode with a friend so that more parents can grow alongside their kiddo like you. Sending you much love. See you next time.